Hi, cities. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim or Cimnanya, and thank you all so much for all the love and support. Hope you all are doing great. So I came across this comment they dropped on this woman's video, and she was talking about how they read a comment where woman said that she doesn't rent her apartment or her house to black people. I mean, I don't think this is new. It's something that has been there. It did not start today. They've been doing this way before now. I have actually seen I brought videos where probably a black person will call in a realtor that she is looking for an accommodation and all that, and they will tell them come over, probably because it sounded white. And you go over and they're like, oh, sorry, you're a black person, we don't rent we don't rent out to black people. It's still part of the segregation. So this thing did not start today. It's been here way, way, way before now, and it is still happening to this very moment. I love the fact that she came out to also share information that will be very beneficial to people like me. And I am also saying, I hope we do not keep information to ourselves. Let's share as much as we can, because you won't keep saying that there is racism and all that, and you are preventing your own from prospering, right? Share the information. It's going to go so people can learn from it. And for those that have accommodations and all that, if you are going to rent, make sure you rent to people that look like me so that the money we have can circulate, because we cannot keep giving the money we have out to outsiders. And not, first of all, we have to, a charity begins at home. Let's get into this.
Well, I'm not surprised. Discrimination in housing never went anywhere. Sure, there are laws in place, but yeah, there are ways around it. I remember when we were considering moving to Florida before we were moving to South Carolina, and when I would call and look for homes and houses, no white people they were willing to take my money for an application fee. They just kept pushing that application fee, but no one was really willing to rent to us in Florida until after COVID happened. We already bought our home here in South Carolina, and then COVID happened, and then a lot of white people were having to sell their property because they were getting pushed out because the corporations pushed them out. And then the HOA fees and the whatnot started pushing them out. So then it was like, okay, well, if black people got the money, I guess that's good enough. And then that was when they started calling us. But yeah, I mean, housing discrimination has always happened. It's a very hard thing to prove, It's much harder for us to prove, it's easier, rather I should say, for us to prove when it's a corporate entity, because then you've got a paper trail, like how when we caught Donald Trump doing it, he had an established history of not renting to black people, and that was easy to prove, and that was why he was sued for it and lost. But private landlords, yeah, it's very easy for them. How are you going to prove that they didn't rent to you because you were black? And then not to mention all of the other discriminatory practices, like 3 times the rent. That's discriminatory. And the whole credit score, discriminatory. There's so much. And then the first month's, last month's, and security deposit. It's discriminatory. It's a way to make sure that people who lack the resources and who have fewer resources, typically those are black and brown people, are unable to meet those requirements. And it's still ongoing to this day. But you do have some states that are tackling it, like the state over from me, Georgia. They can no longer ask for 3 times the rent anymore, I believe. And but yeah, we really need to do something about it. But it wasn't an issue when it wasn't affecting white people. Only, when it was keeping black people out of certain communities and homes and apartments, it was perfectly okay. But now that you see white people falling into this trap, the trap that they laid for black people, now it's a problem. Now we've got to move and do something. Now investigations are taking place and the whatnot. And also, all the more reason for black people to buy up our own communities, and rent out our own properties, and keep that money circulating in Black communities for as long as possible. I know people hate the whole idea of landlords, but if you don't want to own a house, then it's pretty hard to, just be a renter without a landlord. I mean, 1 + 1 = 2 all day. There's no way you can, fudge those numbers. I mean, landlords are a necessary evil if you want to rent or if you have to rent. So yeah, we shouldn't be allowing white people to rent our own communities to us. And I really hate to say this, but I see so many of us who have thrown in the towel and who have just given up. It's like when you say, hey, we really need to create our own businesses and do our own thing in our own community. And I always get this one comment, and I hate it every time I hear it. I just want to throw the phone across the room. They'll just burn it down. I hate that mentality because it's such a quitter mentality. Maybe change the narrative to where white folks understand that if we burn it down, they'll just build it back. You know what I'm saying? It's so many of us have just given up that and it makes it so easy for people to take what little we have. A few years back when I bought my home, I went through this process and I was trying to tell other Black people about it. We had saved up some racks, to put down on our home, because we gotten ourselves ready. We were getting ourselves ready for the home buying process. Now I knew obviously credit, had to be cleaned up and the whatnot. So you want to check your credit, records and all this. And, anytime anybody tries to tell you, I'm not saying you can't make money off of, the whole credit, whatever thing that they do, when they help you clean up your credit, whatever that system is called. But that's a very easy thing to do all on your own. You don't need to pay anybody for that. It's very easy. In fact, I took my oldest son, when he started thinking about buying a house, I took him through that whole thing, and he couldn't believe how his credit score just went up, 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 up. It's not that hard. And Black people selling each other that information instead of just telling people that information is wild to me. Now, I know we all need to make $1. I get it. But if you're going to charge people for that, you really shouldn't be charging but the bare minimum for that. Maybe just charge for your time. And, and if they want you to do it, maybe your labor. But that's it. It's a very easy process to do. First step, you download a reliable app that tracks your credit. And you see exactly what's on that bitch, right? And then you challenge every single thing that's on it. Challenge it all. And you wait for those determinations to come back and see what you got left. And then you pay it off. Start paying them off. Or if you can't pay them off right away, call the people that you owe and make a credit arrangement with them. I'm sorry, a payment arrangement with them. And make the payment arrangement with the condition that gets removed once you pay it off. Force them to also report the on-time payment in the payment arrangement. And then when you pay it off, make them send you a certified letter saying that you have paid that debt off, and make sure that it is removed. Just on a challenge, you'd be surprised at how much will come off, because there are rules to those challenges. Like they can only be so old, or it can't be like medical debt, or it can't be, things like that. So you'd be surprised once it's challenged and they don't come back, it's got to come off your credit. But it's hard to get that through because so many people think that you on some bullshit. But literally, I'm not asking for a dime. I'm just trying to help you. And then once you do that, what you want to do is you want to look for the programs. You want to look for it on a local level, a state level, and a federal level. Any program that will help you out that you qualify for. But you can't be lazy about it. You got to actually do the research for that. You got to actually use your reference tools. And Google is the greatest resource tool ever invented, and people won't use it. And it resides right here on this internet that we are all on right now. All you got to do is scroll over. Everything you need to know or want to know is right there. I got a forgivable grant for my house, toward my house, that I applied. It was $10,000. The only thing that I had to agree to, basically, at the end of the day, was to stay in the house for 10 years. And if I didn't do that, I had to pay the $10,000 back. And then there was also another program where they put my down payment down. I didn't have to put down a down payment as long as I bought in a certain area, zip code. I put $0 down and 00 cents on my house, even though we were prepared to put down $40,000. And not only that, but when it came time to sign the paperwork, I got a check back for $514, either it was 14 or 17, something like that. It was a little over $500 I got back. And I was able to purchase a home, zero money down, in my own community. 2 blocks over and down the road is the South Carolina address of James Clyburn. My neighborhood is full of retired teachers, nurses, city workers, state workers, that kind of thing. Because I researched the shit out of this neighborhood too. You just gotta want to do the work. You gotta do the work. Ain't nobody gonna hand you all the answers. Because our schools are underfunded, Black people don't know these things. And if we don't tell it to each other, Black people won't know these things. If we act like some crabs in the barrel and we don't share information, we don't share research, we don't share information, Black people will not know. We got to help each other.
So this is all I got from this video, and I absolutely love the fact that she was able to share this with us so other people will also learn. I do not think that these are people not renting their accommodations or their houses to Black people is new, because I have heard so many stories. I have also covered so many videos here about them not renting their houses to people, and that's why most times when they even see someone that look like me in some neighborhood, you see them stalking you and asking you, do you live here? How did you get here? Like asking some question. I remember the one that went all viral about a woman. There were so many of them. It's a Black man who actually went fishing in his neighborhood. They saw him fishing and they just kept coming around asking him, do you live here? Do you live here? And one of the women that came actually was, I think she was the one that carried the whole thing, and saying she was going to call the cops on the man. Why? Because what is he doing in their neighborhood? So the man recorded it, and so I think fishing while Black in your neighborhood. The video actually went viral, and they fired the woman from her job. And she came back crying that they ruined her life. And she was telling people to go and beg the man so that it was all a joke, so they could go back at work. So why was she crying? She was crying because she lost her job. That was the only thing she is so much concerned about. She is not concerned about the fact that she said that she was going to call the cops for the man. So what if she had called the cops and probably, how it goes. Like, sometimes they don't listen to Black men and Black people, and boom, probably, from one story to another. So she has already threatened the young Black man with cops. So it's not new. It's something that it's not a thing of today. I remember the ones that I also covered about where they have a meeting, like landlords meeting, where they kind of sign a contract that they would not like to have people that look like me in the neighborhood and all that. So it's really all messed up. And if you default that, you probably will pay fine to them. So this has really been happening a long time, way before now. But it's now good for us to understand that we do not have to hoard information from ourselves. Give the information as much as you can, because there is already a system that is not set up for you. So trying to keep the information to yourself is not even making sense, and it will not help you. The best you can do is share the information with the people that would to benefit, people that look like me, because we absolutely need it. And I love the fact that she actually came out to share her own knowledge. And I hope we are continue to share the knowledge and at the same time try to get some certain things for ourselves. I know some people might not want to buy accommodations, but if you are buying and all that, make sure you also rent to people that look like me and all that, because that system already has been there to oppress people that look like me. So you cannot also be an enemy of progress, like seeing how it's going to benefit you, sorry, your brother or your sister, and you are keeping that information from them. So let's do what we can do. Have a community. I like you said, people are saying, well, we are going to have the community and something will happen to it. I really understand how, because everybody's scared that history might repeat itself. What happened? Trauma. Trauma has a way of messing around people's brain and all that. So some people are thinking of it. And also there was a video I made sometime where Black people bought acres, like a lot of it, and it's going to be called Black Community. I think that is in Houston, Texas, and all of that. Not that people are not already, I mean, it's something that is already there. People are working towards it and all that. But I also understand people's fears, because it's not like it has not happened before. It has happened before. But I really hope that nothing happens to this one, and I hope we keep prospering and we keep soaring higher. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.